attack, fast fatal heart impact, past painful scars. In fact, I blast tasteful bars and packs. I back up my actions, fact don't ask, grab reactions, jacked attack with every word, then act with class as they hear me snap. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose, pick a new silver excuse. I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember, you're just freaked out. Get ready for defeat now.
Alrighty. Hello everybody. Now, this is Kirusho here, and whenever we last left off with this what if, Izuku Midoriya. During the premiere of a movie that was long awaited, there was a villain attack and an attempted robbery. A very high-class event. And All Might did actually arrive, since it was a movie about this hero. Now, after All Might was able to take down the villains, he talked with Izuku, warning him of All for One, and many people discovered Izuku's true power. Or at least his quote-unquote regenerative abilities. Izuku pulled an actual spike from the back of his head. And, as far as every single person in the world and doctors know of, brain damage can affect the way a quirk works. And the way Izuku's body should have handled that is shutting down and deactivating the ability, killing him. However, he survived, and regenerated instantly. Now, with that being said, after everything was sorted out and everyone calmed down, a lot of attention was thrown towards Izuku's way. Many different people talking about the quote-unquote hero to be one day. And some people simply just stating that the boy would be unstoppable, since he doesn't really have to work on defense. All he really needs to work on is attacking somebody. Especially with that ability he used, he was able to take out a robber, or at least one of those guys with guns. He was able to disarm them. Now, with that being said, this freaked Hisashi and Inko out, and more tests began to be run. Now, all these tests were inconclusive. They couldn't find any more evidence that supported that Izuku's quirk was unordinary. However, you can tell it clearly is. Now, roughly around, let's say, I did say this was between the ages of 5 to 10 years old. I don't remember how old Izuku was in the last part, so let's just say some time later. Around the age of 9. Izuku himself has made quite the show in his acting career. With the fact that he's getting older now, it means that he can do more and more careers, and or things. He's even played in a major picture. Something about magic, and at least playing a character. Now, sure, the role didn't really involve his quirk a lot, but it did help for some special effects. Now, along with that, he has actually done a little bit of horror movies, and stuff in the zombie genre. He even did his own stunts, especially a scene where it called for him to actually be lit on fire. However, they had to jump through a lot of legal stuff just in order to put that in a film, since you're basically actually watching someone burn to death. However, he was fine. Now, let's see. Around this age, Izuku, he himself has trained, gone through different fighting styles, and even talked with many different heroes and pros. and he has been having certain dreams. Sometimes he can remember them, sometimes they're not all too clear. Other times they just seem to be distant. There's something about that person, that, well, doll or whatever. The person who informed him of the demon clan, who took over after Elaine's death. They keep reaching out to him, and Izuku's been trying to reach out to them also. But there's the fact that now there's a bit of pressure, and what's currently happening tonight. Izuku is laying in bed, trying to get some sleep, whenever there are some weird sounds. Izuku, yeah, he's not really too worried. It would either probably just be, well, his dad getting up, his mom getting up, possibly just getting something to drink in the middle of the night. There's also the fact that they have a security fence, and that they themselves have also gotten a bit more secure in their house. Now, Izuku is actually somewhat thinking. This doesn't seem right. He feels off. What is this? Now, as Izuku is thinking that, there's a feeling in the air. It quickly changed. What felt like a calm, peaceful, quiet night suddenly turned into Izuku having alarms going off in his head, sirens blurting in every single direction. If they were any louder, they'd probably break his eardrums. And he basically jumped out of his bed to look outside. He didn't see anything. However, that's just what concerned him. He'd rather see something standing out there than see nothing. And he quickly began to move throughout the house, quietly, trying to find out if anyone else is awake. And he does actually head towards his parents' room, down the hall and to the left. Now, as Izuku does that, he's walking, being careful not to hit any of the squeaky boards. Now, as he gets there, he does see that the door is somewhat cracked open. And Izuku himself does actually try and listen in. He doesn't hear anyone. And he slowly begins to creak open the door. As soon as he does, he can see it. Moonlight coming in through the window and through this door right there. The large glass door. So, what is that? Izuku just staring in to see what's going on. He can see that one side of the bed doesn't look right. Something is clearly moved. And then there's the other side. Away from the window, it looks like it hasn't really seen anything. So, it seems like his dad got up then. That's fine. Thank goodness. Must have just been my imagination getting the better of me. Izuku's saying, opening his eyes. And then there it is. Its shadow being cast over his mother, who is peacefully unaware and asleep. And Izuku sees the man, all for one, there in the mask, standing there, within inches from his mother. And he just stares for seconds, unaware as to what to say or what to do, slowly backing away and having absolute fear come upon his face. Then he hears a voice. It's in his head. You really thought that I would just simply leave you alone. You, you're, you're who all might. I see. So, he told you about me, didn't he? I knew the hero visited you and talked to you, especially since you were both at that theater. However, I am quite impressed. In all my time alive, not once have I seen a quirk like yours. In fact, I am in dire need of it. You are not taking my quirk. As if you had a choice in the matter, child. Besides, I have enough quirks to take you down and kill you myself. Now, as All For One says that, he slowly walks towards Izuku, walking towards the edge of the bed before turning to his right and walking straight for him, coming to bring up his hands. And Izuku is trying to think. Now, as that happens, as soon as All For One walks out the door, there is Sasaki in the hallway. He was about to say something, and then he just starts running into his sprint. Now, as soon as he did that, he ran forwards and grabbed Izuku. As soon as he was able to grab his son, he was able to smack All For One's arm away. As soon as he did, All For One was actually surprised. Of course the father is awake. I could have swore he was sleepwalking. Now, it looks like I'll just have to take care of both of them. All For One says, getting ready with his quirks on hand for the situation right now. He has gathered a few he thought would be useful for taking out this young boy, especially if his regeneration is going to be part of it. If he can't beat instantaneous regeneration, then he'll just have to make sure that boy is immobilized and cannot move. Now, meanwhile we have Hisashi, who currently just bolted out of the back door and is trying to get Izuku to calm down. Izuku's screaming that they have to go back for Inko, for his mother. And Hisashi tells him that it's perfectly alright. This confusing Midoriya. Hisashi stating that he told Inko to hide under the bed. She was able to slip underneath there, and he was able to switch her out with pillows. All For One isn't unaware of that, but they were both already awake. As soon as they felt his presence, he put a plan into action. Now, Midoriya hearing this somewhat calms down, but he asks his father, "Why are they running?" And he goes on to state that it's quite simple. He already called the authorities and heroes, and he said to get All Might, send strong heroes. Now, Izuku, yeah. He's not too sure why his dad did that. Does he know who this man is? Has he heard of him before? Now, meanwhile we have All For One. He's already using float, or at least that flying ability. And he's currently pursuing both of them. Now, as soon as he does fly outside and see them, he does use the moonlight, trying to pinpoint where they are. As soon as he sees them, he lifts his hand up and uses telekinesis, being able to just pull both of them up in the air. As soon as he does that, Hisashi gets pulled upwards. As soon as he began to move up, he let go of Izuku, telling his son to run. Now, after that happened, Izuku just started bolting, trying to think. Shit. I have to help my dad. Now, Izuku was just trying to think. He can't face that guy. If what All Might told him is true, then he can take his power. Shit. I was given a quirk. I can't let him take it away. He's a villain. I have to keep people safe. Now, as Izuku says that he does eventually hear sirens, and police officers eventually do find Izuku. They found him almost, let's say, a block and a half away. All for one was trying to get information from Masashi about his son's abilities, trying to see if they were hereditary, or if Hisashi had a dormant form of this ability. He was curious. If a quirk is dormant, he can try and pull it out. However, that could damage somebody. Now, he did give this a whirl, but he only found Hisashi's one quirk, before throwing him to the ground, and he suffered a very bad concussion. Now, Izuku is eventually caught up to, and All For One does find him. Along with that, pro heroes are already making their way here. Many of them, they are roughly 1 to 2 minutes away, and that is already too long. Now, Izuku is trying to warn the officers, do not let that man get your guns. And they begin to fire upon All For One. All For One being able to blow away the police cars, and the officers, sending most of them all flying. And Izuku, he was sent flying away, and he received quite a bit of damage in his usual ringing. As soon as he got back up, his hearing returned, and there was All For One, congratulating the young boy on his ability, informing him that running will not solve his problems. Now, Izuku, he's not too sure what to do. This man in the mask, the police officers. Crap. Now, Izuku is trying to think. The reason why he is wearing that mask, he's hiding his face. So, show me your face. I'm sorry, young man. Your face, you're covering it. You're that villain. So, if you're so famous, why are you hiding? I'm not going to answer that question. Now, I will make a simple deal. Do you understand me? Izuku staying quiet. And All For One simply just begins. If Izuku does not hand over his quirk, All For One says, bringing his hand up, and acid spewing from his palm, directly impacting a police car and beginning to melt through it, along with getting onto a police officer's leg. Now, as soon as Izuku saw that happened, All For One began to state, if he does not give him his quirk, then he will simply find out exactly what he can do with it. He will experiment on it, get the young boy's blood, and simply just take it that way. They can do this easy or hard, it does not matter. So, hand over the ability and he will not be responsible for the death of these officers, nor his mother or father. He's pretty sure he already killed his father. He might have died when he hit the ground. Now, Izuku begins to tear up, and he rushes towards All For One, yelling out "bastard" as loud as he can. And All For One does one simple thing. He brings up his other hand, using telekinesis, to shatter Izuku's kneecaps. The amount of force basically blowing them backwards, and almost clean off. As soon as he did that, Izuku immediately began to start regenerating, as smoke began to come off of his body. All For One watching exactly how fast the boy can heal, and being intrigued. Now, he began to use his own quirk. Let's see. As he brings his hand down towards the boy, Izuku tries to steal. He tries to steal that mask. As soon as the beam shot up, and began to make its way towards All For One's face, he was able to move, Izuku cutting into one of the tubes on the mask and breaking it. Now, that means that All For One, he is now on a bit of a time limit, and he needs to fix that damage immediately. Now, he bends down and tries to steal Izuku's immortality, thinking that that will solve his problems. Whenever he tries to take the boy's quirk, he tries to look. There's only that stupid ability he has. Damn it. So, this isn't a quirk. This is something else. Child, what is this? I don't know. But if you can't take it, that means I have a chance. Little bastard. All For One says, saying that they had a deal. Now, since he cannot take that quirk, bringing his hand up, he soaks Izuku in acid, coating and covering his entire body. And Izuku falls onto the ground, writhing in pain, watching as All For One flies back towards his house. Now, that being said, Izuku fades in and out of consciousness. Whenever he fades out, All For One disappeared. Whenever he faded back in, pro heroes were lifting him off the ground very carefully. Or was it doctors? What was it? Along with that, he smelled smoke in the air. And then when he woke up again, he was in an ambulance. Them trying to be very careful with him. Now, eventually Izuku, after fading in and out multiple times, does come to in the hospital. As soon as he does, he jumps awake and is breathing very heavily, trying to understand where he is and what happened. And he is informed by police officers, along with pro heroes. They are unsure as to exactly what happened. A villain attack occurred. They're not sure why they targeted his father. But as far as they are aware, his father, he is going to be hospitalized. Apparently there was trauma to his brain, and he is in a coma. Meanwhile, as for Izuku's mother, she's dead, and his house was burned down. That news immediately shocking Izuku, and he goes to his father's hospital room to see his dad. There he is, in bed with bandages around his head, a breathing tube, and multiple other machines. Being told that these are all basically working around the clock to make sure that he is alive. Many of them are trying to monitor brain activity, trying to see if his quirk is triggering, since they have found pencils and other things in his hands, or as they at least believe, close by, where they should not be. So that does at least show some brain activity. It may not be good, but it is at least something to show that he is still alive. Now, Izuku is bawling his eyes out trying to understand this. And, with that being said, I do believe that that will be a good point to leave this off of. And I do hope you guys enjoyed.